Hello, it's Karen here from Dark Moon Emporium, and today I've been getting to grips with the circular array and measure applications in XTool Creative Space, and I used them to make a clock. So here I am, XTool Creative Space, and I've made a star from the Shapes menu. I've moved it to the red layer because I like red, and I've set the shape to engrave so that we can all see it. So I'm going to select the shape, which I've positioned in the center of my canvas for the time being, and I'm going to go to Applications, Circular Array, and that brings up this menu, which you can move around so that it sits where is convenient for you. I've positioned it kind of over here. And we have coordinates X and Y, and we have start and end positions, number of steps and number of copies. I'm going to start with the coordinates X and Y, which I gather from reading the manual are values based on the center point of the circle. So if I start with the X values, I'm just going to change that to, so let's take it down from 212 to 100. And as you can see, it's created a circular shape because my endpoint is 360 with 8 copies, 45 degrees apart. And it started with with my starting circle is at what I'm going to call the west position, if this were a compass. The copies of the shape are rotated, and that's kind of what I get. So let me change that back to its starting point. If I change the Y coordinates, this time I have shapes that are going away from my center point, which is in the 6 o'clock position, and again my copies are rotated. So I'm going to move that back to, I've moved my star up to the up nearer to, I've moved the shape up to the top of the canvas for my next bit, and again I'm going to select it, Applications, Circular Array, and this time I'm going to leave the X value where it is, and I'm going to change Y to 150, and this time I'm going to change the number of copies. So I'm going to make it 6 copies, and as I change the number of copies, the number of steps automatically changes. If I deselect rotate object copies, they are all in the same orientation as my original copy. If I change my Y value to 200, I can kind of do that. I can change things back again. Okay. And the other thing that I can change is my start and end point. So if I start at 0 degrees, which is up there, I end at 360 degrees. If I change it to 180, all of a sudden all of my shapes are in this half of the circle, which is kind of over here somewhere, I think. And again, my number of steps is 30 degrees, and my number of copies is 6 degrees. The geometry always works out. So what happens if I change my starting point, which is currently set at 0? So if I set my starting point to minus 90 and my end at 180, all of a sudden things move around. So this menu, to be honest, I think is something that I'm just going to play with until I can find out what it can do and how I can make it work for me. But kind of in a nutshell, that kind of is pretty much what it does. So now that I've played about with the circular array application, I think I'm going to try and make something with it. Now I'm still in my D1 workspace, but I'm going to change over to my F1 because what I'm going to make is going to fit on there. And I'm going to do a little bit of prep work by making a circle. This is going to be my background so that I know that what I'm making will fit onto the blank that I have. And I'm just going to center that. I'm going to move it to the purple layer, and I'm going to lock it. Okay, so that's not going to move anywhere, that's not going anywhere, and that's just a guide for me. Okay, so the obvious thing to make with a circular array is a clock. So let's have a go at putting clock numerals onto this shape. So let's begin with a text box, and let's change the text to 12. Let's engrave it, and let's move it to its own layer. Again, the red layer, because I like red. And that's going to be massively too big for my little 100mm wide coaster that I'm going to burn this onto. Let's have a look at the font. Let's pick that font. That's quite a nice little font, isn't it? And okay, and let's center this as a horizontal align center. And let's actually align it, make sure it's aligned center. So yeah, everything's centered. Okay, maybe a little bit smaller. And again, double check the centering, because to be sure, you know, just to be sure. All right, so this is my starting object. I'm going to go over to my applications, and again, circular array. And I'm going to want 12 copies. Start at 0, end at 360. I'm going to leave X where it is, and I'm just going to move Y out. I'm just going to use the arrows, and I'm just going to keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing until I think, is that about right? Let's go back one. And that looks about right, doesn't it? Oh, no, it doesn't. I want to uncheck rotate the objects, rotate object copies, because if I don't, some of my numbers 12 will be upside down. So I don't want that. I want to do that, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to hit done. And the next thing that I'm going to do is ungroup, because I don't want 12 12s on my clock. It would be a very strange clock. So now I'm going to go in and edit each of these numbers until I've got 1 to 12. Okay, so all my numbers are in place, and once again I'm going to select everything. I'm just hitting Command and A, and I'm going to group everything, and I'm also going to lock this layer. All right, so everything's where I want it, nothing's going to move. Now, that as a clock is okay, but it would be a little bit better if it had the minute markers in between each of the numerals. So let's put those in. So once again, I'm going to select a circle, and this time I'm going to make a small circle, very, very small. I'm going to set it to engrave. Did I mention that I had the number set to engrave? If I didn't, I should have. And come back. Where you gone? There you go. Sorry, hope you didn't get dizzy. And let me give this a layer of its own. Let's do the dark blue one. Okay, so that is my my 0, my minute marker. It's a little bit large, I think. So let's make it 1.75. Okay, that's better. And I'm going to align that with my 12. And again, make sure that I'm aligned with the center. Okay, so up a little bit so that it is right in the middle of the 12. And once again, I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to the applications menu under circular array, and this time I want 60 copies. And once again, so let's do some of the work rather than hitting the up arrow every time. Let's start at 50. Okay, so that's got us some of the way there. So I'm just going to keep going until I'm where I want to be, which happens to be at 58. It doesn't matter if I rotate the object copies or not, because it's a circle, it doesn't make any difference. And I'm going to call that done. And once again, I'm going to ungroup everything, and I'm going to go through and delete the markers that are on top of my numbers. And once again, select everything and group it, and I'm going to unlock that. I'm going to lock that as well, because why not? I can always unlock it if I need to. And there I have my clock face. And just to finish things off, I need a, and just to finish the clock off, so to finish the clock off, I need to create a space for my clock mechanism to go through. So I'm going to make a circle again, going to move it to another layer. I'm going to center it in the middle of my workspace. I think I'm going to make it 6 millimeters. I'm going to have to go away and measure the workings of my clock face, if I can find it. It's around somewhere. But that one is going to be a cut. And from this point, I can go ahead and do whatever I want. I can decorate my clock in any way I want to, but that's my basic clock face. So I'm going to save that. Where am I? Edit. There you go. No, file. What's the matter with me? Save as. Save that as clock face. That was a profound sigh. And I can save that. And then I can go away and burn that at my leisure. on. When I started this project, it was going to be just the file only. I wasn't going to actually make anything with it, but I've kind of fallen in love with my little clock, and I may do some decoration on the face or not, I don't yet know. But what I am going to do is order some hands that will fit it, because the clock mechanism that I've got and the hands that came with it are designed for quite a large wall clock, and this is going to be a dainty little thing. So to decide what size of hands I need to order, I'm going to come to my applications menu, and I'm going to go to measurement this time, and I'm going to start off by clicking as near to the center of the clock as I can get. Now, I've done a little bit of research, and I found out that clock hands are measured from the middle of the hole in the middle of the hand to the tip of the minute hand. And if I measure across, so that gives me 44.04 millimeters. If I order some hands that are 40 millimeters, that ought to be just about the right size. So I'm going to go away to Amazon, and I'm going to order myself a set of hands and make sure that I've got a mechanism that they will fit. For my clock face, I took these plywood coasters and I gave them several coats of primer and paint and sealer. And then once they were all dry, I stuck masking paper onto the front as a protection against soot when I burned them in the laser. Before I removed the paper, I gave them a few more coats of sealer before dabbing on some paint to colour the numerals. Now, my advice here is don't skimp on the paint or the sealer. If any paint does seep out under the masking paper, then you can lightly sand it away and respray it once it dries, but it will help if you have a good coat of sealer to work on. So once that was all dry, all I had to do was to peel away the masking paper and attach the mechanism with a bit of double-sided tape, and then press the hands on, the minute hand first and then the hour hand. And here's my little clock. I ended up making 2 of them just in case the first one met with a disaster, and just to ring the changes a bit, I cut a vinyl dragon with my Cricut Joy to decorate the second one. I'm still deciding which one I like better. I may just have to go and get another mechanism and set of hands and make the one with the dragon into a working clock also. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do click the thumbs up button below. And if you really enjoyed it and would like to see more, then please do click on the subscribe button. It's free for you, but it really does help my channel. For now though, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.